Hello everyone. We're going to be utilizing one mind any weapon approach and hacking Wi-Fi with notepad. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let's take care of legal. First of all, you saw hacking. Sorry, this was for marketing only. You have been duped. Just kidding. Not really, but that being said, in this particular demonstration, no laws are broken, no hacking tools are used. This is to emphasize the importance of a security architecture in a Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi environment for a certain provider for a very specific use case. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at different components of this environment. We have a laptop that connects to a wireless network. We have a wireless controller that usually accesses the local area network from wireless. This device might have next generation firewall capabilities on its own, not to be able to let you roam freely within this environment. Then you will have a login page. We're going to be using example.com as our login page. This is something that you automatically get redirected to once you connect to Wi-Fi, so that you can put in your credit card information and pay for Wi-Fi, and we'll call that plan B for now. Then you'll have a firewall that connects out to the internet, and then you might have some other services that you might already have access to out in the internet, and it could be streaming, it could be providers' own web page that's public to the internet, it could be even this login page that's out in the internet. Again, very easy to figure out what those things are. This splash page will have links, click on them, see where they go. Now that we know the different architecture, let's talk about how you get permitted through firewalls. You have two options. You can get permitted by IP addresses. Most of the time that's not the case in this particular case because, well, the firewall admins don't know the IP addresses of everything. Plus, they don't really want to use the IP addresses because that is considered to be legacy way to permit things in a next generation firewall. You want to permit it by hostname. Again, if you want somebody to be able to access example.com, you type in permit to example.com. Your firewall should be smart enough to figure it out. And in most cases, it does. In some cases, it doesn't. So let's look at options of what firewall has to do to figure out where is example.com. Option 1 would be for the firewall to actually go ahead and do its own DNS query, give the IP address of example.com, and permit you to that IP address. That really doesn't work in most cases because the DNS servers sometimes will use load balancing or geolocation, and it will respond with different IP addresses, depends when or where you're coming from. So the firewalls cannot really rely on that information 100%, and because of that, the firewalls will allow you to connect to any HTTP and HTTPS port. I say any port, any IP on HTTP and HTTPS ports, and wait for you to do an HTTP GET or client hello, where they can actually grab this hostname. Once they see that the hostname is there, they validate it against the rule. If it's permitted, it will permit the connection or really allow the connection to exist. If it's not permitted, it will close the connection, send reset in both directions, and call it a day. And that's our next generation firewall. So let's kind of use that theory and see how we can navigate around it to get us to maybe some other things. And some of you might already know where I'm going with this, and that is a very easy way to manipulate that host field in GET and HTTP GET and HTTPS GET by what is essentially a static DNS entry on your computer in your host file. Once that is in there, anytime you go to http://example.com, you're going to create a three-way handshake to this IP address. Firewall will permit it, assuming that the next thing comes is get example.com HTTP header. Once it sees that it is permitted, it will allow this connection to exist, and now you're connected to an IP address, and the firewall permitted it, even though the admin had no intention for you to have access to that specific IP address. So if we look at our architecture, and this server right here that we have access to now is out in the internet, we essentially can navigate and browse HTTP. This server can be an HTTP proxy, It can be an actual VDI HTTP client that you can access and then access anything out in the internet. So again, this demonstration was for the purposes of security architecture. If any of you don't agree with this theory, I'm very happy to hear comments and theories on why this would not work. And we will have a very healthy debate about it. But this is it for this demonstration. Until next time.